All right, back here with Don Passenger of Passenger Law. I'm doing a little broker talk and legal talk. We've talked about a few topics, and the only reason you're going to see this split over a few episodes is that we did not have a costume change, so it's going to look pretty repetitive from a clothing standpoint, and hopefully we're done with the chainsaws
I
out
can
back
quick
there.
change
So
ties,
yeah, hair and makeup not my thing. So, but in a shifting market, we want to talk about writing addendums. And I had a broker of mine tell me a long time ago that I'm not an attorney and that I need to keep things simple when I write addendums, and also be succinct and get your point across. So I see a lot of clauses in our purchase agreements or on our addendums that are too simple. They just say seller to pay X or seller to do this, and I always say, look, if I've got to explain myself in front of a judge, I want it to say what I intended it to say, and then also cover the topics of, okay, who's doing what? Is it the buyer or the seller? What are they doing? When are they doing it? Who's paying for it, and what are the consequences if it doesn't get done, right? And
Right.
so we're talking about, if it's a plumbing repair, it should be done by a licensed plumber, prior to close at seller expense, not just seller to take care of the plumbing leak. So, what are your thoughts on that? What do we need to have in addendums when we write these, and what should we leave out to make sure we're not overcomplicating things?
Well, I don't think that being as simple as you can be and still getting the job done is bad advice. What I see is that they're overly simple, as you've mentioned, and it will just say seller to fix plumbing. And we don't know what that means. What plumbing issue is it? Is it something that was noted in the inspection? You know, the seller will have a licensed plumber fix the defect noted in paragraph 4A of the inspection dated whatever date it is.
Mm-hmm.
What I see in addendums, I see successive addendums often now with the market the way it is. And I would like to see, when I come to a situation to review it, is each addendum I had one the other day that had a first addendum, an addendum, and a first addendum. Okay? Well, the first addendum was the first addendum. The addendum was the second addendum, and the first addendum was the third addendum.
Yep.
Okay? There were three addendums. You should properly number your addendums. When I do an addendum, I actually cite there is a purchase agreement dated such and such a date, there is an addendum dated such and such a date, there's addendum dated such and such a date, and now this third addendum is dated whatever date it is.
Right.
So I think just simple recitation so we can follow the transaction is very helpful. Does that complicate it? Maybe. Does it make it clearer? It does, because I can come to it and go, wait a minute, I'm looking for two prior addendums. Where are those?
Right.
So I like to see that. Second is, I always say, it's not quite applicable, but I say who, what, why, where, when. So who's going to do something? What are they going to do? Why are they going to do it? Okay. And when are they going to do it by? And then I suppose you could add in, what are the consequences if that doesn't happen? Does that allow one side to get out of the transaction? Does it allow me to perform the work and just bill you for it? What happens next? Mm-hmm. The test I like to do is, if you were to, and you have the person in your life that you can pick who is discerning but listens to you carefully, explain it to your mother, to your aunt, to your best friend, to your spouse, to your significant other, whatever it may be. If I have to explain this transaction for which they're not familiar with what I'm doing, will they understand me when I explain it to them? Mm-hmm. And if I take that same explanation that worked for them and then reduce that to writing in my addendum, I find that seems to work really well. So I would say that if I were to pick on addendums, I would say they are too succinct, too simple, and not explanatory of what's actually supposed to happen, why it's supposed to happen, when it's supposed to happen. So I think that's an area that you could reduce exposure and reduce disputes in transactions, is by having a much clearer addendum.